All right, and welcome back, and we're moving now into our first segment for the morning. And like we had mentioned to you, we are actually now joined by the minister himself, the Honorable Anthony Mahler, who is the Minister of Tourism and Diaspora Relations. We see what 2022 has done in terms of the tourism aspect of things, but there must have been a vision. There is no way you're going to make a plan, but you don't have a vision in terms of what you want to do or where you want to go. And the minister is in, he's got his vision, and that's where we'll be talking about, or what we'll be talking about for the morning. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, gentlemen.
It's always nice to have you in, man.
Morning, Belize. I want to say blessings to you and your families for 2023. I hope it's much better than 2020, 2021, and 2022.
I tell you what, that's the hope. Everybody hope that, it's going to be better. But like I told Paul, there is always the learning aspect of things. So when we feel it is not better for us, chances are we're learning how to make it better for the days to come or the years to come. Now, let's get into this vision, man. We've seen in 2022, Minister, and of course from whence you've gained this portfolio, from whence you've won, you came in with a vision. You came in with a vision to make sure that this country is being marketed the right way. Mm-hmm. We are seen in many various aspects of this world, so much so that CNN actually is saying one of the best countries to visit. There are 23 best countries to visit, and Belize is one of them. Yeah. Let's talk about when you got in, how you found this country, and what was your thoughts to make it better with tourism, and then we'll go from there.
Well, good question. When we got in November of 2020, we were still in the midst of the pandemic, and so it was difficult. You had a lot of properties still being locked down. Mm-hmm. A lot of the businesses weren't operating to full strength. Many of the tourism employees had left for other industries, call centers, agriculture, etc., etc. So it was a very, very difficult time. And when you say my vision, I think it's a collective vision, because I have worked in tourism for a long time. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of the stakeholders. The first thing I did was to organize a countrywide destination visit, or destination visits. And we spoke to key stakeholders in each of the major destinations to see what and how they want for us to reach the end goal for tourism. And so the first thing we did, though, in 2020 was to establish a tourism recovery task force, which then was emulated by the national task force for the country. Mm-hmm. And we consulted, created and developed a recovery plan, which include restructuring the marketing, introducing back training into the system. If there was a cry in the past for that during the high season they're too busy and to do training, and during the low season they're too broke. Yeah. So we said that we were going to focus back on service excellence in the industry. Yeah. And we want to compete with the best destinations around this world. We have been blessed with wealth untold, like the anthem says, but there's still a lot of shortcomings for the basic infrastructure in the country, meaning human and the physical infrastructure. Yeah. So roads leading to attractions. In fact, just in major urban centers, you need some vast improvements for us to be considered a truly first-class tourist destination.
Yeah. It's one of the complaints that we hear often about this type of service that is offered in Belize, that we have bad customer service. I'll just put it in plain English like that. People will come and say, and I've seen the reviews where people would come and say, man, that attraction was beautiful, but the type of service that they're accustomed to in other countries across the world, and then you come to Belize and you have this amazing product, but the customer service is not up to the standards that they've experienced. What have we been doing? I think you're talking about some trainings. What have that really been focusing on? What has been some of the initiatives you've engaged in?
Well, but I'll also put
Go
that
ahead.
in most surveys, visitors, and I prefer to call them guests because many of our visitors live international and they're Belizeans coming back. So our guests coming home and coming to Belize say that one of the key factors that they like when they experience the product here in Belize is the friendliness of our people.
That we have.
So
Definitely.
Right. So that comes naturally for us, right?
Yes.
And for me, I believe that when we got in, the training budget was somewhere around $26,000. I immediately said that is impossible.
Right.
I want to increase that significantly.
Yeah.
And so it's around $700,000 now.
So it was 26K nationally. So we could use
nationally.
that.
No,
Right.
that's I mean a drop in the bucket. No, that's
Yeah.
a pittance. You can't do anything with that. And I found the tour guide training at somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000. I say impossible. We're coming out of COVID. People are struggling. We want more people to be attracted to the industry. Bring that down to about $400, $500 per course. From somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000. So we have naturally nice people and friendly people, so we can train up.
Yeah.
For example, I was in Barbados the other day, the Palmarine Training Center. That has been there since 1967. So I'm on a mission that by the end of this year, we will either ground break or launch the first tourism training institute in Belize. And so we're working out the curriculums for each program that we're going to offer and how we believe it's best for longevity and for sustainability.
Yeah.
The structure of the training institute, because we've seen in the past many training institutes start and fail. Obviously it has to be subsidized by the government. And we're prepared to do so by the BTB. But to me, the sensible thing to do is to partner with the Ministry of Education. They know more about that than we do. And so you have underutilized IT vets throughout the entire country. So use those instead of building brick and mortars all over the place. Use those facilities that are there. If we need to retrofit them for certain types of training, then we do so. And we have a cadre of trainers, high-level trainers throughout the country. Obviously, you have to start with train the trainers as well, right?
So we're still, after looking at the news last night, we're still accordingly not to the numbers of 2019.
Yeah.
But it seems that 2022 will be bringing out some serious positive numbers. Let's sum up. Give us a quick synopsis of what 2022 was like for your ministry.
Well, a large portion for overnight, right?
Yeah.
The large portion of 2022, still we had Omicron the first quarter of the year.
Yes.
The borders were closed pretty much until April, May, somewhere around there, and so people couldn't come in there. Right now, we had a discussion in cabinet because the borders represent in 2019 about 20 to 25% of the overnight arrival. So somewhere around 100,000 people would come through the northern and western borders primarily. And they would come from the north via the bus companies out of Mexico, and the west out of Guatemala. Now, to try to improve the quality of the transportation system in Belize, we said that we won't allow these buses back until our people can bring up their quality and compete, right? And so we could have a reciprocal arrangement with Mexico and Guatemala, so our buses can go over there. For many of the bus companies, the problem is that the quality of their equipment can't run in Mexico, can't run in Guatemala. So the reciprocal arrangement is something that we've been waiting for because we want to improve the quality of the buses in Belize. And it is important for us to bring in people to the borders as well. And so the numbers to the borders are lagging. If you look at the entire arrivals for overnight, you're talking about Europe wasn't open until relatively recently. Canada wasn't open until relatively easily. So for a large portion of the year last year, those numbers were suppressed. Now we're seeing a gradual uptake, but you have inflation, you have a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Airline tickets are expensive, and we've been speaking to the airlines to see if they can reduce prices so that more people can come to Belize and other destinations throughout Central America and the Caribbean.
You know, and while those issues remain, one thing is clear, Belize is becoming more known. The product, the package is becoming more known across the globe. Talk a bit about what we've been doing in terms of marketing to get to these countries, these regions like Europe, America, Canada. We see the billboards, we see the articles, and at least to me, it's apparent that they're more now.
The Grab Life taxis in London, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
the taxis in London.
I have a marketing background. My first degree was in marketing. I spent 13 years at Smart doing that, developing every product and putting it into the market. Some were successful, some failed, but then you go back and tweak it and then come
learn
back
from
again.
it.
Yes, you learn, right? And so I come with there's a thing called guerrilla marketing, right? Mindset. We don't have the big budget like other big destinations, but to me, with social media, with technology, with being creative in key areas, you can compete. But when you grow the numbers, then you need more quality rooms.
Of course.
You need more quality tour operations. Like for example, when I was in London, middle of last year, we spoke to people in the trade in the UK, and all of them said, but we want to sell Belize more, but you don't have a full-fledged destination management company. Now, I went to Trim the other day and I met this young man who says that they're starting one with a group out of Costa Rica here in Belize. So for them to be selling Belize, they would have to use a destination management company out of Panama, out of Costa Rica, out of Mexico. That doesn't work for me. We should be able to have one here, and we should help it to succeed, right?
Yeah.
And so we're looking at that, how we can partner with the private sector to ensure that we have some destination management companies in the country. So there are a lot of nuances in the industry that you may not see. You see the marketing, you see the billboards in Times Square, that type of thing. A creative thing was that we took over the entire Empire State Building, and did a yoga session up there. And
how do you even
make
these
things happen? Yeah.
Well, we have good partners, specifically in the United States and the UK, and we have a gentleman, Xander, out of Holland. These people have a passion for Belize as well. They've been working with Belize for some time now, and they know the product. The Zimmerman group out of Florida, they've recently come on board, but they have a passion for Belize as well. Now, where I have a problem is in Mexico. That company has been there for some time, but yet we have 120 million Mexicans next door, and only 7,000 came in 2019 for overnight visits. That is, I think, and that's disgraceful.
It's a huge market.
Huge.
You probably have more Belizeans traveling to Mexico.
What people don't know is that Mexicans dive a lot.
Okay.
Right? And so Belize should be a key place for them
to want to dive.
The same thing in Latin America. We have a group out there that I don't think fully understands the product. They haven't immersed themselves in the product to understand it. And so I have asked for RFPs to be put out for those locations. I've waited 2 years to see some results. They've asked me to be, I don't have patience. We're responsible for 50% of this economy, and you're talking about in the height of COVID, we have somewhere around 65% poverty rate, and 30% unemployment, 33% unemployment. And the tourism industry is the main driver for the economy, with major intersectoral linkages to agriculture, fisheries, construction, you name it, transportation. And so I don't have time to waste. 2 years, I believe, is enough for them to have proven themselves to me. And so we're going to move on.
But so, you know, I'm sure there's studies being done, because we know why Caribbean folks aren't making it across to Belize. We don't have direct flights to these areas. They need to make it to America. They need to make it to Panama so they could come to Belize. Which, even if you come to Panama, that one time for the week. So, what do you think is the shortfall there? What do you think? Why, if Belizeans flock to Mexico, right across the Chetumal, and everybody, I tell you, this weekend coming up, now a long weekend, so people going. So why do you feel it's not the same way with us or them coming here? What do you think with the shortfall plan?
Again, we don't have a direct flight. People don't understand the product. In Mexico, a lot of people, Mexico City. Now in Chetumal, they know about Belize. In the Quintana Roo area, they know about Belize. But in the bigger municipalities in Mexico, they don't know about Belize.
Because it's huge. Mexico is huge.
And when you talk about the Caribbean, right? I was in Barbados today, the other day, for a book launch. One of my mentors, she wrote a book about, a memoir about her life being in tourism as a tourism pioneer and one of the leading trainers in the Caribbean. And she asked me to be her keynote speaker at the book launch. And I started, and these are highly educated people in the room. You had about 100 people. Most of them in Barbados didn't understand what Belize was until a portion of my speech spoke about all the assets that we have in this country. The same time I was in London, we had a Belize day. So we took Chef Quilin to bubble some dishes.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, you know, he could do it, right? And then we took a Garifuna drummer who I met in PG the other day, who lives in Scotland or Ireland, so one out of the two.
Ronald McDonald.
Ronald McDonald.
So, family.
so when I say, who is the drummer? Ronald McDonald. I just give the man a joke. I say, you know what I'm going to think? Is that Ronald McDonald, the burger guy? So, no man, you sure this man could beat drum? Well, the man good. The man skilled. The man know how to entertain.
Yes.
He's a humble guy, nice guy.
Yeah.
It was good to see him in Punta Gorda town the other day.
Yeah.
Just last week, Thursday or Friday, I met him.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
He said he came home to visit and that type of thing for the holidays. But I asked people in the press, people in the trade, big group, maybe 200, 300 people there for the Belize Day. I say, if you can show me a destination as diverse as Belize, as accessible as Belize, I will give any one of you and your family a full paid trip to Belize. This is my email. You write me. I had a few people who wrote. Some said Cambodia. Some, but you know, have the second largest barrier reef. You know, got the archaeological sites. You know, got the diversity of the people. You know, right. So nobody won.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we are extremely special. And so it irks me when I see grown people throwing garbage on the street all over the place. We spend an inordinate amount of money trying to clean the highways between myself and Honorable Julius Espat and other members who represent certain constituencies to try to keep their constituencies clean. And so that is why a few months ago we started the Civic Pride campaign. At the last Ruta Maya at Civic, I was standing waiting to go and give some trophies and medals with Mr. Villanueva. And the anthem was playing, and I saw this group of young women intoxicated, but she was disgracing the anthem, like using, instead of the words, using profanities. Man, I mean, this is a representation of us.
Yeah.
And we have to project the best of us to the world, right? And that is my message as I move across this country and I speak to groups. We have to cherish our country. We can't tear down the mangroves and kill out the animals. One tree or one jaguar is much more, it could generate a lot more revenues than it being dead, right? Same thing with manatees, same thing with crocodiles, same thing with a lot of things, right? So we have to be responsible. Over the last, I read an alarming thing. Over the last 20 years, we've lost 57% of our forest cap. That's a serious thing. And so we discussed that in cabinet yesterday, and we are going to put in measures to mitigate that.
Very important to note though, our country is going in a great direction with respect to tourism, but at the same time, Minister, we're seeing some serious criminal elements being, or criminal activities being done that eventually will, or continue to put a black eye on this country. When I heard the CNN news that, we're one of the top 23 destinations to visit in 2023, then I think about the situation that occurred with Miss Bowens. I think about the situation that occurred at the other day with the flooding and stuff like that. There are people who would say, I'm not safe. I'm not in a position to actually be safe in a country like that. Yes, I love the people, I love the languages, I've read about it, but I don't feel safe. What are your thoughts on what occurred there? What are your thoughts on how people can be safe, or what assurance are you giving to tourists or guests in terms of being safe in this country?
I fully agree with you in terms of the issue of crime. It is going to be problematic for us if we don't arrest the situation quickly. I think the Minister of Police is doing a good job in trying his best to ensure that we are safe. We are partnering with them through the tourism police and other entities. We're trying a pilot here in Belize City with a little concierge group that works along with the tourist police, and so they look out in key areas where people are walking. And so we want to expand that countrywide, and we're looking at other things using cameras, and we're putting up a substation on North and Burgess. The day after that incident happened, myself, Andre Perez, and Kareem went out to San Pedro to meet with the family. I mean, it was just like, you didn't even want to celebrate no more, right? Can you imagine losing your child on your birthday?
On her father's birthday.
Yeah, on your birthday, right?
Yeah.
So the father, they were celebrating their father's birthday, and this rogue element of our society, and throughout Belize, there are some rogue elements. It's just a small group of people holding us hostage, Like I have no patience with the marketing agencies in Latin America and Mexico. I worse not have no patience for them.
Yeah.
And so we have to continue though. We have to continue to educate our people. We have to continue to improve the quality of life for everybody so that crime isn't an option.
Yeah.
We have to be hard on them. But it was an isolated incident. And so that's not the norm for San Pedro. That's not the norm. It's just a sad situation that we keep in contact with the family.
Yeah.
We've briefed them significantly about what we've done in terms of capturing some of the suspects. And the same thing, when a Southside youth is gone down, people just say Belize City is unsafe, right?
Yeah.
They don't say it's just a
small portion.
A small portion of the city.
Yeah.
Like what we said, the kick up dust, right? And so we have to use policing techniques, technology, but we also have to have the social programs, improve housing, what I'm doing on Berger Field with the FFB and the Sports Council, and things like that. Those things are critical to ensure. If you don't, a struggling youth in the hood, the New York, at some point you drive past Madison Square Garden and say, one of these days I sure I could play in it. I just have to be skilled. We maybe drive past Civic Center, right? Who that the heroes, male and female in this country, where young people look up to, saying that they want to emulate as they grow older. People want to be in the States, want to be like LeBron, they want to be like Messi, they want to be like this one, they want to be like Tom Brady, and the list goes on. So there's a social component that we seriously have to put in place, and the policing aspect of it. And they go in parallel, hand in hand, and that's how you combat crime. That's how. But if you look at the number of murders in 2022, it has gone on to 113 or something like that.
Minister, definitely you have a dual role in that. Not only are you the Minister of Tourism, you're also the area representative for Pickstock. So you have a dual role, and it's interesting that your constituency is in Belize City, where some of the flare-ups take place. So that those flare-ups directly impact the work you do in tourism, in essence. Is that how you look at it when you approach the projects and the initiatives that you seek to implement to, as you call it, your say, quality of life in your constituency?
Well, I'll say Pickstock is the best division in the entire country. Well, we straddle both sides.
Definitely, you'd say that.
So we have some of the, some of the people like underestimate Pickstock, but we don't juggernaut in this country. If you just go around Pickstock a little bit, you have BWS there, you have Atlantic Bank, you have Civic Center, you have the Boeing group of companies there, you have Kickdown Fence and Lychee. Plus Pratt's, you have Safeway Drugstore, you have Carpet Care, plus you have Zetas, you have Quality Chicken, and you got more.
A
lot more. Just so, I mean, and truly we have, again, it's just a small element that is rogue and that is disruptive. We have good, hard-working people in Pickstock, and I think they need good. I mean, my position is that you have to have good representation as well. And so, doing the social products, I don't really think about it's going to have an impact on tourism. My mindset is that it's going to change lives. No, my slogan was change agent, and it's not going to be where 6 months before my election you start do all kind of thing in the first proper year, because people forget that the first year in government we were struggling through COVID. The economy was way down in the doldrums. I mean, usually they left it at ground level there one year. Before we left, we deep in our hole, right? Thank God we have very creative people in government, and good people in government that have worked tirelessly to ensure that the economy rebuilds. And so that is a part of the process that we've gone through over the last 2 years. And so my focus is, I believe in a broken windows theory, right? If you fix up the neighborhood and then you have people and you educate them that this is yours, ensure that you respect it. No?
Respect it and take care of it.
And take care of it, right? You can't broke up. If we just spend so much money in Berger Field, you can't go out there, go rip up the turf and go climb the fence and shake the fence until it broke down and kind of thing. It's yours. It's for the community. And so we've done Berger Field, or we're in the process of doing Berger Field. We built a small basketball court in Mayflower because there's a little overlap there, even though Mayflower is in Collett. For the community, right? We're working on the Mahogany Street corridor. So upgrading all the booths out there. We're also giving each business out there a credit of $1,500 to buy equipment, to buy supplies,
Where is that?
On Mahogany
Right
Street.
on Mahogany Street,
If
yeah.
you go out
Yeah.
there, you'll see about 6 or 8 of the booths already completed. They're completing the bathroom. They've done the parking lot so that you can have parking. You have bathroom, clean bathroom for people to go out there rather than peeing on a post if you're a man, right?
Yeah.
Because you see that all the time.
Yeah.
Somebody pissing on a
Rampant.
corner.
Yeah.
All over the place. That just like, I must say like feel the breeze or something. I don't know. But you can't have those things in an environment like that, no?
Yeah.
I mean, when we found that area, you had like 29 booths, quite a few of them selling food, and I think only 1 or 2 had access to
Restrooms.
running water, just basic running water.
Yeah.
So we have done that, and we'll continue. We'll have a greening program that is going to. We started a greening program on Boulevard as well, and I'm talking to a group to have free Wi-Fi for like 10 or 15 minutes on the boulevard, on the main thoroughfares in Pickstock, just so that people can have access to data, they can learn, just something different.
Yeah, in cases of emergency, you can use that. So, you know, in terms of education aspect of things, you could use that as well. We know that time is of the essence, but you're also the Minister of Diaspora Relations. Talk to us about that.
We got one more, I think, critical program in Pickstock. Actually, in the first year, we've paved about 5 or 6 streets already, no? And it's cheaper to do asphalt, but in those communities, you have to try to create work for the young men. So I did most of them cement. It's a little bit more expensive, but we wanted to create some employment in the neighborhoods. But we have the Hope Center that we're working on right now, and the Change Agent Center. So a portion of it is going to be a factory. The equipment is in Belize already. The experts are going to come in and set it up for us either this week or next week. And that is to make shampoo or bottle shampoo, conditioner, soap, and hopefully down the road we can get to facial products and all of that when we create this brand. And so that we want to hire mainly women, single mothers who want to improve the quality of life for themselves and their family. And then a part of it is a woodwork craft factory that we're working on as well for men to be able to go in there and to provide stuff. Far too often those things are imported when I believe that they can be done right here in Belize. Far too often we see made in Mexico, made in China and hecho in Mexico,
hecho in Guatemala.
Right. We want to reduce that. We want to have locally produced and manufactured stuff that go into the tourism industry.
You need to make the Belize.
Yeah, and then in the back side of it, because the compound is on the river right there by BWS, we're going to do a little, not a boardwalk, but a little platform. And currently I have 2 boats, but it's going to be 5 boats. There's a place called in Mexico, Xochimilco. They have these colorful wooden boats, and it's just a small waterway. Water black and you can't see nothing. The bottom, even if you jump in there and try to open you can't see nothing. And what they do is up and down that, and then stop at location. You could get tacos, you could get your beer, you could get your tequila, whatever, no? And mariachis would jump on board. And so my goal or my vision is to ensure that we use the waterway from Belcan Bridge and further up to going towards Swing Bridge. So we have 2 or 3 of these boats being built. We have everything for it, the engines, everything, so that they don't.
I like that idea, John, because how many Belizeans included have really taken a trip up and down that river to Belize City?
It's beautiful.
You know, I would imagine so. I see it from the bridge, I see it from Tavern, but that's as much as I see.
And so what we want to have is key locations. The other thing that we're looking at right now is on North Front Street. We want to partner, and this kind of premature, with the Northern Fisherman Group to put a nice first-class fish market and a boardwalk between Northern Fisherman and Belchana Bridge throughout that area. So we're talking to real estate agents about how we can access or buy the available lands there. They're a little bit expensive, but I guess that's the market price that we have to pay right now. So.
All right, so we were asking you also, just give us a quick run through of your diasporal relations and how is that going for you?
I am pleasantly surprised of how we have built Diaspora from nothing to something very impactful for our country. You probably know this, but remittances helped us significantly through COVID. For many families where you had people not working. And if you look at it right now through the central bank, the remittances is heading somewhere, I believe it's close to $300 million a year.
Wow.
And so the diaspora play a crucial role in the development of Belize. And they come back, they build second homes, they invest in small tourism ventures. And so, but they've always felt from my meeting with the members of the diaspora, they said they've not been given that level of respect. They haven't had the level of communication. And so we established the diaspora unit as well as a 501c3 company called Belize. I think I said the thing correct. And it's a registered non-governmental organization in the United States. And so they've done great work. Just after the hurricane, they brought in about $600,000 worth of supplies and food. And we distributed that throughout the city and throughout the country. And they've done a lot more in the medical equipment, laptops, scholarships, you name it. So.
Well, we're so glad that you were able to join us this morning. We feel that, having these conversations enlighten the country or Belizeans as to what's going on, where we are, where we were, where we are, and where we want to go. And the buy-in is always the big thing. So we want to thank you, Minister Anthony
before
Mahler.
I leave, I just want to, I whispered to this gentleman the other day that he had applied for one of the media scholarships. And I've been told that he will be awarded that pretty soon. So
there you go. Show it, Pam, live on TV.
For me, I'll say this, and John, we've worked together before.
Of course, always a great relationship.
Right? So I believe the media has a crucial role to play in this country. But to me, you have to be fair, respectful, state facts, not opinions. Especially in an era like this where social media and a lot of misinformation is out there. So just go, do well, and come back and use what you learn.
Spread your knowledge. And
to be the best you can be in your day-to-day activity as a media or as a journalist.
Minister, thank you. Very much grateful.
All right, no crying, man, it's showing up. I tell you what, we got to take a break. We're so grateful that Honorable Anthony Mahler had joined us this morning. Great conversation, but we've got to take the break. And when we come back, we'll be talking about adult skills programs from the YWCA. Together we work. Once we work together, we can go farther. And that's what they'll be talking to us about when we come back. Stay with us.